want to jam on a little topic here, and it's pretty much relating to like mindfulness and how it's connected to business. So there's this little thing that we have here, and we can refer to it as power focus. And pretty much, it's taking a negative event and turning it into a positive situation, a learning experience. And pretty much, you can break it down by going into number one, like what happened, what was the thing that happened, what was the event that occurred, what was the conversation that was had, and why was this positive? So what is the positive situation in this event? So if we think about it, like coming into like a business situation, a lot of times like failures are under this category here of like why is a failure positive? And something that me and Mike always say is fail fast. Like if you're unsure about it, the best thing that you can do is test it. And if it's a failure, just make sure that there is like a lesson learned out of that failure. That brings us into number three, like what is the lesson learned? So, say for example, like what happened, blew $2,000 on an ad campaign. Why was this positive? Because we figured out what not to do to blow another $2,000. The lesson learned, maybe we should run our ads a little bit differently. So, like I said, it's how we can turn any negative situation into a positive situation. And if you think about it, this goes into literally everything. You hurt yourself working out, guess what? What happened is you hurt yourself. This was a positive because you know what not to do to hurt yourself in the future. Maybe you need to stretch more, maybe you need to warm up, whatever that situation might be. The lesson learned is that now moving forward, hey, I shouldn't do this exercise this way because it's going to lead to me hurting myself again. Same thing in relationships. What happened? My wife got pissed off at me. Why was this positive? Because I found a trigger point to my wife. The lesson learned, don't say that statement to my wife again. She's not going to get pissed off anymore. Keep it in a mental note, and don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again, type of thing. Same thing in business and your mind, body, relationships goes all the way across the board. So moving into the notes a little bit more, mindfulness also can be looked at kind of like this overall like headspace. Say every morning, you wake up with 100% mindfulness, and we can equate this to a $1 million mind, like a $1 million functioning mind. Now, as soon as you let some sort of drama or event come in and take space in your mind, whatever that percentage is, you immediately lose money, you lose value inside of your mind. So think about this being like this 25% right here. Think about this being a relationship. You wake up, you get pissed off at your wife or your girlfriend or something like that. Now you have something occupying your mind that's going to limit your capacity to function at 100% the rest of the day. It's going to be something that's sitting on top of your mind unless you have a way that you can fix that situation. And a lot of times that we can fix, relationship situations or these little like bullshit things that that come up and take space is just addressing it right there exactly when it needs to be done. I fucked up. Hey, I did this. Hey, my bad. Just addressing that and like dropping the ego and putting your foot out there as being like, hey, I fucked up, my bad, type of thing. Now, there's one thing about this is sometimes this increases. Maybe we got another 25% going to a business related thing, and we got another 15% over on this side. So now we're losing another 250K, and then we're losing another 150K. So if you think about this, now we're operating with 350K total. That's terrible. That's a terrible mindset. So this is why this stuff is really important when it comes to your performance in your production and how mindfulness connects to your productivity. Um, Now, like I had mentioned, the number one thing that kind of like takes space in our mind is usually relationships, and it doesn't need to be a significant other. This can be mom and dad, or brother, some random guy, some neighbor. Like a lot of it's like relationship based, and it's us letting other people get inside of our head. So the best thing that I can say is have no problems. And like I said, the way that you can have no problems is you can fix those problems. You can address those problems. If it's a problem with a relationship, then address it, fix it. You don't need to have those relationships, but you need to get rid of that space in your head. So it doesn't mean that the relationship needs to be great. You just come back up into this situation, this power focused situation. You find out what happened. Why was that situation positive? and what did you learn out of it? And that's how you can fix it. That's how you can move that space and get that space back into your mind, into that 100% functioning mind. Um, and one of the best things that I can recommend here is a book called The Four Agreements. The Four Agreements is really powerful when it comes to relationships because it teaches you really what you should be doing and how you should be acting. I can't think of the four agreements off the top of my head, but one of them is being impeccable with your word, like meaning what you say. Another one is like don't make assumptions. Don't assume that because somebody did this in the past that they're going to do it to me again, or because somebody acted, or because you had a spouse in the past, that doesn't mean that every single spouse you have is going to be that way. Same thing with like business relationships, stuff like that. Um, and like I said, I can't think of the other two, but highly, highly, highly recommend checking out the book, The Four Agreements, and it'll open up a whole nother like kind of aspect as far as like how you can be handling yourself to make sure that you do have this 100% $1 million mind. Um, and like the best thing, like I had said before, like get control of your relationships, get rid of the drama in your life, and this is going to lead you back into this 100% functioning mindfulness state. So getting rid of the drama, getting rid of the business situations, or getting rid of like these spaces that are taking space in your head, using the point of power focus. Um and overall, like just getting control of your mind through this same process. And like this is one thing that I think that you can use pretty heavily as well. Is this something that's from a past relationship? Is this a past relationship problem, or is this a current relationship problem? And that kind of ties back up into this four agreements. Being impeccable with your word, and not making assumptions. Because it was something that happened in the past doesn't mean it's something that's going to happen again in the current present time. Um, so this is something that I think is super powerful as far as like holding space. And I think holding space is very important when it comes to relationships. Understanding that your business partner, your spouse, your friends, their days aren't always going to be perfect, So, like, you need to figure out a way that you can come to a situation where you are, holding space for that individual. You are letting them be out on their own as far as like their own kind of like actions. And one of the biggest things that I experience myself internally when like I almost need that space is you getting in sort of like a bickering situation, whether it's with a spouse or business partner or friends, whatever that situation might be, but there's no way for each of you to stop that. So what I highly recommend doing in this situation is just coming up with some sort of word that's like, hey, we need to separate, we need to hold space. There's fire, like tension burning here. We need to take a step back, and we need to hold space for each other and recollect ourselves, and then come back later and fix this situation. Now, the safer we feel, the more we will open. Now, this is important when it comes to holding space, because if you don't hold space for somebody, people aren't your business partners, your spouses, your friends, they're not going to open up to you because they don't feel safe. They always feel attacked. There's always this fire situation coming through. So when it comes to like relationships in general, think about like what your love language is. What is it that you need, to feel the love? And then also at the same time, think about what your partner's love language is, and realize that these two might not be the same thing. So if you come into a situation with, and like I said, this is just relationship based in general. It doesn't necessarily mean a spouse or business partner, friend, or whatever. It's all of them. So like what is your partner's love language? Is it gift giving? Is it like just like words of affirmation? Figure that stuff out and make sure that you're catering to the person that you are trying to like raise their value, and realize it might not be something that you alone are attracted to. And as you can see in my scribble here, you have to know each other's love language, cater to your partner's love language, exactly what I just said. So that's a little bit just on like mindfulness as a whole. One of the biggest things with this, like I said, is just overall like holding space for one another. and using the role of power focus to really identify, what it is that, the event that happened, what is the positivity that comes from that event, and what is the lesson learned through that event. Why is that negative situation now a positive situation? So hope you guys get some value out of this, and we'll